James Taylor lick number 4 from You Can Close Your Eyes. So James Taylor will actually end this lick in 2 different ways, and I'm going to show you both of them. The one that you heard right there was from the original recording. We begin in a G, and I'm only using my ring and pinky finger for these 2 notes of the G chord. And then my right hands, I have my pointer, middle, and ring fingers assigned to the G, B, and the E string, and we play this. A pull off from the 1st fret of the B string to the open. And then we do a walk down the bass line. And to hit that F sharp, I generally use my thumb. You can do, however, what James Taylor does. He brings his pointer finger down to the 2nd fret here, his middle finger to the F sharp, and then the E. Or, again. So whichever one you feel more comfortable with. And then from the E, we go to an A7. And at this point, I will shift my 3 fingers from my right hand up a string each, and I'll play. And then I'll shift them back for the final chord. And if you're like me, your fingers will probably trip up over each other on that dissension, so I would suggest going through it very slowly and very intentionally. Until your fingers learn to coordinate that dissension very seamlessly. For the second ending, we begin in the exact same manner as before. When we get to the E this time, however, we're going to jump to this chord that James Taylor absolutely loves. It's a variation of a D with an A bass note. I don't really know what it's called, but it's going to be... So he plays... And make sure to switch your bass note from the E to an A. You don't want to play... You want to play... shifting things higher in that progression. If we play through it slowly. Something you might actually notice me doing as we go through this. You see my ring finger there, it might look like I'm fretting a note, but what I'm actually doing is I'm muting that E string, which still might be ringing from when we had just played it. I want the A to be the predominant bass note, but because we had just played the E, and then went to the A, the E is still ringing, and so sometimes I will intentionally reach up and mute that string. Our E is played up here, but again, I want the A to be the predominant bass note. And when the E is ringing at the same time, it just gets a little bit more messy. It's much better when it sounds like... So just something to not get confused about. You might see me do that as we went through that a couple times. I'm actually muting this low E string, just as a way of cleaning up the sound that I'm producing from the guitar.